It's Kai Smith, and thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about the unspoken truths of hair loss. I was experiencing hair loss. I was experiencing something known as alopecia areata, which is a common form of hair loss that comes in the form of like patches, clean patches, circles or odd-shaped patches that look like the back of your hand. They're clean. One day you just wake up and your hair is gone. Just as simple as that. And they don't know why. They say that even the healthiest person can experience alopecia areata. No rhyme or no reason. No rhyme or no reason for it. So I woke up, thank you for sharing, Ebony. I woke up one day and the person that was doing my hair said, you know, you have a big bald spot in the back of your head. And I said, you got to be kidding me, because I did not know what was going on. I was just looking at the back of my head not too long before she brought that to my attention. And so I couldn't believe that my hair was gone. So I said, no, I don't believe my hair is gone. She took a picture of it with the phone and she showed it to me. And when she showed it to me, that spot was about this big, you guys, in the back of my head that just appeared out of nowhere, like overnight. And so I was devastated because, quite frankly, I was a healthy person. I was a healthy person. I don't take medications. I don't have to go to the doctor but once a year for my physical. So I couldn't understand for the life of me why in the heck this big old bald patch showed up in the back of my head. And so you would think that being a hairstylist that I would know how to handle something like that, right? But no, I didn't. I was at a loss. So I did what I had been teaching my clients to do all of this time. Went to the dermatologist. They decided to give me cortisone injections. Was it working? Heck yeah. My hair was growing back. It was only growing back in the areas where they were injecting me, and it was coming out in other areas, though new areas were showing up with bald spots. And so, still not quite understanding the full details of hair loss and how that thing worked, I was baffled. But not only was I baffled, I was devastated. I was so insecure because of what was happening to me. I was in the process of letting my hair grow out from a short hairstyle. And so I was baffled because I couldn't cover the back of my head up. And I didn't want people walking behind me and seeing those big bald spots because they were growing. They were appearing in new places. And so the places that were being injected with cortisone shots, they weren't fully grown back in to cover the areas that were now coming out again. So it was just crazy trying to go through that battle, that struggle of covering and being self-conscious and feeling devastated. And I just like to say that, I was kind of like feeling myself. I haven't really had a problem with, external confidence. Now, I might have been dealing with some stuff on the inside that I needed to shake off. But as far as, showing up in public and having myself all put together, I thought I was doing a very good job. But when that hair loss hit me, that thing knocked me off my feet. That thing knocked me off my feet. Hi, Stevie. That thing knocked me off my feet. Hi, Tony. And it had me in a place where I was second guessing myself, where I felt like if I wore my hair in a certain way that everybody was looking at me. But quite frankly, nobody was really looking at me. That was all that was going on in my head because I was so insecure about what was happening to me. Because see, there's something called a psychological effect. And I think the psychological effect is really downplayed in the world of hair loss. And so that thing had taken a psychological toll on me to where I was really sabotaging myself on the inside, because it wasn't really that people were looking at my hair loss and laughing and talking about my hair loss, because really nobody knew that I had hair loss unless I told them, because I knew how to camouflage it. So it was really those things that was going on in my mind that made me feel so insecure. But needless to say, over 40% of women suffer from hair loss in America. And so it's kind of like a double standard here, because not only do women suffer with hair loss, men suffer with hair loss too. But women tend to suffer in silence, because society has forced women to suffer in silence. It's embarrassing, it destroys our self-image, and it disrupts our whole emotional well-being. And because of that, We don't know how to show up because it's a double standard. Men can just shave their hair bald and they can look like the most sexiest masculine beings alive. Whereas if a woman decides to shave her hair bald, it's almost like she has to come with a speech as to why she's doing it. And she has to work on herself to be confident enough to show up in the world without any of those damaging words scarring her image and working on her value. And so it's a double standard. So women are made to suffer in silence based on society, based on the standards that society places on it, stereotypes. Exactly. We are made to suffer in silence. So we spend a lot of our time covering it up more so than working on it, covering it up more so than working on it, because we still have to show up in the world as who we are in corporate America, as who we are as being a mother, as who we are as in relationships with our husbands or our significant others, with our friends, because it's very hard for people to understand what we're going through if you have never been through that thing. And so the psychological toll that hair loss has on a woman is devastating, just to say the least. It's devastating. And because it's more acceptable for men to go through it than for a woman, then men, and I'm not going to say that all men don't suffer, because some men, that's the decline of age. It starts showing a decline of them aging and all kinds of things. Men go through midlife crisis just like women, when we go through menopause and all that, they have their things that they go through too. But society just accepts it more for men than they do for women. So it's like a double standard, for us. And so my question is it vanity or is it femininity? And I say that because when you tell somebody that your hair is coming out, the first thing that they might do if they've never experienced it, oh, why are you tripping? You could just cover it up. They tell you that in the medical profession, it's not deemed as being important because it's not necessary for life, whereas that's quite the contrary. Your hair is a barometer of your health, and it's the window to what's going on inside of your body. It's speaking a barometer. It's saying where you are as far as your health is concerned. I happen to believe that it's not vanity at all. I happen to believe that it's femininity. If you have ever gone through hair loss, I don't believe that the first thing the woman is thinking is vanity. I believe the first thing the woman is thinking is I'm embarrassed. And how am I going to show up in the world without somebody, looking at me? Especially because for me, I deal with a lot of corporate women. Women who have to fight every day for their positions at the job up against men. I deal with those kind of women, high-powered women who hold high-power positions in corporate. And they're already fighting for their positions and fighting to be respected. And then they have to fight because their image is being altered by their hair loss. Because they feel like when they show up at that meeting that this man, he already doesn't have the respect for her that he would have for his male counterpart. But now she feels like he's looking at her hair. She doesn't feel like a whole woman. Her femininity is not there. Her sexy is not there. Hair is our crowning glory. And unfortunately, people see their hair and they see your outer before they see anything that is going on the inside. And so for a woman who is in corporate and she's already fighting for being a woman and her femininity in that right, she definitely doesn't need her hair being compromised or making her feel less than or unequal or less worthy, because that's how you feel when you start dealing with hair loss. So my question once again is it vanity or is it femininity? Well, let's look at it. Femininity is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles generally associated with being a woman, a girl, or a female, right? Femininity is both socially constructed as well as biologically created. And so, what does that mean? Perception of a woman is based on society and culture. Society and culture is what's basically the perception that society is going to have on you. When you are experiencing hair loss and people are watching you and you feel like they are gawking at you, I have my own personal experience with that. I had a woman tell me, when I go to my son's football game, I sit at the top of the bleachers because I'm afraid that when somebody is sitting on top of me, that they're not watching the game. They're watching my hair. How does that make you feel as a woman that you have to go all the way to the nosebleed section to watch your star player, your star football player in high school play his game because you're so embarrassed and you're so self-conscious that you can't even be all the way into the game and celebrate your son because you are so worried about your hair? That has nothing to do with vanity, you guys. That has nothing to do with vanity. So I'm going to say that it is less to do with vanity than it is to do with femininity. When a woman is losing her hair, you guys, her everything is shattered. Her world is rocked. And especially if your hair loss is scarring and you've lost follicles and you feel like there is no hope. And so people think that when you are suffering with hair loss, that it is more about vanity. I hear that so much that their hair loss is dismissed even by their significant others, their closest friends, their family can't understand the turmoil that this woman is going through when she's losing her hair. That they will just say, get a wig, get a weave, and cover it up. You guys, if you're not a hair loss sufferer, please make that the last thing that you ever say to a woman who is suffering with hair loss, because you don't understand what she is going through when she is suffering. You do not understand. And it is not vanity that this woman is more so concerned with. Because most times these women don't even know why their hair is coming out. They've been fighting for years. Most women who come with me concerning their hair loss have been experiencing hair loss for 5 years or greater. And I'm not their first stop. They've sought other professional help. She's done everything to take care of her hair, and all of a sudden she wakes up and she's losing her hair. And she's been fighting for years, 5, 10, 15 years, and she hasn't gotten any answers about her hair loss. And all that her friends or her husband is saying, baby, don't worry, I still love you. No matter how you are, I still love you. That means nothing to that woman that is losing her hair. Because it's not about vanity. It runs deeper than vanity. That thing is embedded in her because it has taken something away from her. It has rocked her at her core. And so it is much deeper than vanity, you guys. And this is why I wanted to come and speak about this topic today, because it is much deeper than vanity. And I've even been told that some hair loss professionals, some dermatologists have even just said, basically, what's the big deal? I've had women who have sat in my chair and told me that their dermatologist or their doctor have said, what's the big deal? Basically, because they don't need hair to live. But if your femininity is based on culture and on society, a part of it is based on culture and society, and you no longer feel whole as a woman showing up in society, that has rocked you at your core. And all you want to do is get your hair back. There are some statistics that talk about women wanting their hair more than they want sex, or more than they want to be in relationships. That's deep, because it's more than just vanity. Imagine having hair loss and then having to show up sexually, feeling feminine as a woman for your husband or your significant other. It's very hard to get into the mental state of feeling sexy enough for your husband or significant other when you're losing your hair and you don't feel sexy about anything on your body because you don't have hair. And so it's more than just vanity. It runs deeper than vanity. And these are the unspoken truths about hair loss. And so if you take nothing away from this, take away from it that it's not vanity. It's not vanity. It is femininity. A woman's completely robbed, and she has no control over it. And when she's seeking professional help, and no one seems to be able to give her answers, yet and still she's losing her hair, or no one can give her answers, but they can give her a prescription and still can't tell her exactly what's going on with her, she's lost She feels hopeless and she doesn't know what else to do. How do I know? Because I've been there. I've been there. And so hair loss plays a role on how you show up in the world as a woman, in the workplace, in your home, with your husband, your boyfriend, as a mother. Because as women, especially if you have daughters, and I've talked to my clients who I deal with hair loss about this. I wasn't a mom when I was experiencing hair loss at the time. At the initial onset of my hair loss, I should say. But as a mother, raising women, raising young girls, it is our duty to instill confidence in our young ladies, in our young girls at a young age. And if you don't feel confident about yourself, how are you supposed to be able to show up and help your daughter feel confident about herself when you have no idea where your confidence went? Because hair loss has robbed you of your confidence, and you're trying to teach your daughter something that you don't even have. It's deep, you guys. These are the unspoken truths of hair loss. It's like a nightmare that never goes away, that you can't wake up from, especially when it's been plaguing you for years and you've exhausted countless dollars and you've been on several treatments and nothing has helped, but the hair loss is still persisting. This is why I do what I do. This is why I do what I do, because I have the gift to pinpoint what doctors are overlooking. Because I've been trained on trichology. I've been trained on the body systems as it relates to hair loss. And does everybody have an illness that has hair loss? No, because we know the number one cause of hair loss is androgenetic alopecia, which will also be known as female pattern hair loss or male pattern hair loss. And there are also some cases of hair loss where it's self-inflicted, traction alopecia and things like that. But there are thousands upon thousands of women who don't have that kind of hair loss. The 40% of women of American women who have hair loss don't all have androgenetic alopecia, don't all have traction alopecia. They have some other types of hair loss that is causing them pain, that is from medical imbalances, nutritional imbalances, mineral and vitamin imbalances, hormonal imbalances. These are things that need to be pinpointed so that you can bring these things into balance, and they are often overlooked because as a trichologist, we are taught to bring the body back into homeostasis for optimal results, optimal health, not average health. Not average health. So when we as trichologists are looking at your blood work, we're looking at your blood work from an optimal perspective. And what's the difference between optimal and just your standardized, your blood results? Optimal is going to be the person that is most healthiest, and you're looking at blood tests and statistics and scores from somebody who is healthy. Your average test results, when these doctors are doing research and statistics, they're coming from people who are borderline or are ill, for them to get your baseline numbers to know what you fall in between to be healthy and unhealthy or borderline. And for me, I don't want my health to be judged based on someone who is already borderline ill or ill. I want my health to be based on optimal health, not the average person's health. Okay? Because that's what those statistics are based on. And so as trichologists, we are looking at your blood work based on what it needs for your hair to survive. Because your hair is a non-essential tissue. If your hair is getting nutrients and nutrients are needed in another body system, your body knows fight or flight. It will go to your hair and extract nutrients from your hair cells, and it will take it to the area where it is most in need, and it will deposit there, leaving your hair in a deficit. So when we do things as far as blood work, and we're looking to see what ranges you fall within your blood work, we're looking for optimal, meaning if your hair is surviving, that means the rest of your body is going to be surviving and thriving. And so this is why our blood scores are going to be different from what your average physician's blood scores are going to be. We look at things based on from a naturopathic perspective. is what a trichologist does. We practice from a natural perspective, okay? I hope that you guys got some value from the content that I shared. Until we meet again, you guys be good to yourselves. Have a good night.